Hey y'all, it's Dawn, and I'm so glad you're back. I've got another fun, budget-friendly DIY video for you today. This project was inspired by Life with Lizette. She made this adorable countertop ladder, and I just had to make one for myself. I loved it so much. I cut down some wood sticks. I guess that's what you would call them. They were in my wood pile, and I thought they would work perfectly. I cut the two side pieces at 15 inches and the three rungs in the middle at 6 inches. Sorry, but I forgot to hit record on the camera for the first two rungs of the ladder. I looked up at the camera before I started the third and hit record. I didn't use any glue. I found these long screws in some of my husband's stuff and used 6 of them to put the ladder together. I came down about 1.5 inches from the top of the ladder to place the first rung. I drilled a pilot hole through the side piece and the middle piece so the wood wouldn't split, and then used the screws to screw them in. Once I had the ladder put together, I put some water in a bowl and added Waverly ink chalk paint and mixed it well. I stained the entire ladder with this mixture. I simply painted it on and then rubbed it off with a couple of baby wipes. Once the paint had dried, I painted the entire ladder with Waverly plaster chalk paint. I did what I call a messy paint job because I knew I was going to be distressing it. Once I had the first side painted, I dried it with my hot air gun. I held the gun close to the paint so it would get a bubbling and cracking effect. I wanted the ladder to look like something that would have came out of my great-grandmother's farmhouse. Old, rustic, used, and worn. I did the same thing on the other sides of the little ladder. I had seen another crafter use a Dollar Tree emery board to distress some of her projects and thought I'd give it a try. It worked great, but I think I'll be using it on much smaller projects than this. I think my sanding block would have been a lot faster. Once I was finished, I cleaned the ladder with some water and paper towels to remove all the dust and stuff. And just look at how cute this little ladder is. I have been wanting to do this for quite a while and have been rather intimidated by it. I'm not sure why. I thought it would have been a lot harder than it actually was. I found this sign in my stash. I got it from Dollar Tree or Dollar General one, I can't remember. I used an X-Acto knife around the inside and outside edges of the sign to score the hot glue that was holding the picture into the frame. I also used my heat gun to try to heat up the hot glue, and I used a utility knife. I don't know why, but this sucker was hard to come apart. I wish I knew what type of hot glue they used. Once I got everything removed, I decided to use the back of the picture, and I painted it with apple barrel white paint and dried it with my heat gun. I got this stencil from wish.com, and I thought it would make a cute vintage farmhouse sign. I sprayed the back of the stencil with Elmer's Craft Bond and let it dry for a few seconds so it wouldn't be quite so sticky. I applied the stencil to the painted board and rolled it down with my Mod Podge roller. I applied the paint by pouncing, not rubbing, onto the stencil using a Dollar Tree makeup sponge and a clothespin. I decided to paint the frame with the same black apple barrel paint I had used on the stencil. Once everything was dry, I used some Waverly steel chalk paint and a small fan brush to distress the sign. I placed dabs of hot glue in the corners of the frame and reattached the picture. I used my finger sander I got from Amazon to distress the frame and then attached twine in the holes at the top of the frame so it could be hung. I made a simple bow using some of this Dollar Tree ribbon. I love this ribbon, and I'm so happy I found it. You will definitely be seeing more of it in the upcoming videos. I think it is so cute and farmhouse. I attached the bow in the corner of the frame with hot glue. And just look at how vintage farmhouse this sign is. Let me know in the comments what you think of it. Today's video is part of the Funtime Friday collab hosted by Tiff at Broke Girl Aesthetics and Sarah at Can Sarah DIY. This is a fun monthly collab the first Friday of each month. I'll leave links to both of their channels along with a link to the playlist in the description. Now back to these fun DIYs. For this project, I used 2 Dollar Tree bamboo cutting boards and some beads. I think these are from Walmart, but I really can't remember. I began by staining the wood and the beads with Waverly Antiquing Wax. That's when I realized the beads had a sealer on top of them, so I had to change my plan up. I used some 220 grit sandpaper and sanded both of the cutting boards. I then cleaned it with nail polish remover to make sure all the wax was removed. I dried both the cutting boards with my hot air gun. I decided to go with 14mm natural wood beads from Amazon. I'll leave a link for these beads in the description. I hot glued the beads around the edge of one of the cutting boards and placed them side by side, touching each other. After I had all the beads on the first board, I used hot glue again to attach the second board. I used these wood discs for the feet of the riser. I found them in my stash and can't remember where I got them. I must have gotten them when I was making jewelry a few years back, but I really can't remember. I hot glued two of the discs together and then glued them to the bottom of the riser. You could leave the riser and stain the beads and feet, but I decided to change mine up a little. I used Waverly plaster chalk paint and painted the entire thing. I paid special attention to the area around the beads. I wanted to make sure it was white. I painted the top, the bottom, all sides, and the feet of the riser. Next, I used Waverly Elephant Chalk Paint to distress the riser. I used the dry brush method and a fan brush for this, and lightly covered the wood until I was happy with the amount of distressing. I made sure to distress not only the beads in between the cutting boards, but also the discs I used as feet. This riser turned out so amazing, and it was actually an easy project to do. Let me know in the comments what you think of the riser. If you haven't already, go ahead and like this video and subscribe to my channel. I upload weekly home decor DIY videos, and you know you don't want to miss any of them. So go ahead and hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when I upload a new video. I was scrolling through the at-home website to get some inspiration and ran across this adorable little house. I wanted it for my living room shelf. I found this house I got on one of my yard sale adventures and decided to use it to recreate the Home Sweet Home house. The house had a raised texture to it, and I wanted mine to be smooth. The first thing I did was use a medium grit Dollar Tree sanding block to scuff up the paint. And then I got smart. Why not try a nail polish remover? I had used it on a previous project and it worked great. So I applied nail polish remover to a paper towel and began rubbing it on the house. Perfect. I used the nail polish remover on all the sides of the house to remove most of the textured paint. I then used my sanding block to remove what was left of the texture. I wasn't really worried about the paint itself, just the textured part. I used Waverly ink chalk paint and painted the entire house. And of course used my hot air gun to dry the paint quicker. This hot air gun has saved me so much time on projects because I don't have to wait for the paint to dry. It comes in handy to remove stickers from items too. I'll leave a link in the description for the hot air gun I use on a daily basis and highly recommend. Next, I created this cut file in Design Space and sized it to fit this house. I'll also leave a link for it in the description for any Cricut users who want to recreate this. I applied the vinyl to transfer paper and then to the house. I tried to make sure it was centered and straight on the house. And just look at how stinking cute this little home sweet home turned out. I love it. If you haven't already, go ahead and like this video and subscribe to my channel. I upload weekly home decor DIY videos, and you know you don't want to miss any of them. So go ahead and hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when I upload a new video. I got this adorable little washboard a while back from a flea market, and I think I gave $4 for it, but I can't remember, and I can't find the sticker. The first thing I did was clean it with Awesome Cleaner. I love this cleaner. It works great on most surfaces. I usually get the big refill bottle from Dollar General and keep refilling the 2 spray bottles that I have on hand. I didn't realize how filthy this washboard was until now. Just look at how disgusting it turned my paper towel. I continued cleaning it until the brown color wasn't so bad on my paper towel. I've seen other crafters use candles to give the paint a chipped look, so I thought I would give it a try. I rubbed this Dollar Tree candle all over the sign where I thought it needed to look more distressed. Next, I used my favorite color of paint, Waverly Plaster, and painted the entire washboard except for the metal part. I needed a way to not get the paint on the metal part, so I cut down a piece of this brown cardstock and laid it over the metal. Y'all know how messy I am when I paint. I usually get paint everywhere. I painted everything except for the metal, the front, the back, and both the sides. And I think I used 2 coats of paint because the first coat you could still see the dark color underneath. I used a Dollar Tree fingernail file to distress the washboard. I really couldn't tell if the wax had worked because after distressing, it looked like it would have if I would have just distressed it myself. I used the file and distressed the entire washboard until I was happy with the way it looked. If you don't like the distressed, weathered, rustic look, you could always skip this step. But the more distressed, the better for me. I found this cut file on Design Bundles and thought it would be perfect for the top of the washboard. I removed several of the elements from the cut file, sized it to fit, cut it out, and applied it to transfer paper. I applied the vinyl to the top of the washboard using my Mod Podge squeegee. I then added a layer of Mod Podge to protect the vinyl. I liked the washboard but felt like it needed something else. I used this Dollar Tree palette and some wood blocks to create a pouch for the front of the washboard. With this pouch, I can add seasonal florals and other items. I glued 2 of the wood pieces to the sides of the palette and then 1 at the bottom. I used this checkered burlap I got from Hobby Lobby to cover the pouch. I cut it a little larger than the pouch itself and used Mod Podge to attach it. Since my blocks didn't run the length of the palette, I had to figure out how to make it look like a box. I cut from the center of the burlap to just above the corner of each palette on both sides. I hope this makes sense. And use Mod Podge to glue the burlap to the bottom of the box I was making. Next, I folded the burlap and glued it to create the box. I trimmed all the excess burlap off and added more Mod Podge. I decided to use hot glue to hold the edges of the burlap together because I was having trouble getting the Mod Podge to hold it. After everything had dried, I used this hard coat Mod Podge on the bottom of the box so I could make it more stable. I didn't want the burlap coming off or any of my floral stems poking through. I gave the bottom and the sides a good coat. I added some lamb's ear and cotton stems to the little box. I think this little laundry room washboard sign turned out so stinking cute. Let me know in the comments what you think. Please take a second to like this video and leave me a comment. This really helps my channel to grow so others just like yourself can find me. If you just found me, I hope you will join our little family by hitting the subscribe button. If you are already part of the family, thank you so much for your love and support. Y'all are the absolute best. Check out my new Amazon store for craft supply and farmhouse home decor recommendations. All the products I use from Amazon in my videos can be found there. Until next time, happy crafting!